Welcome to part 2 of Can You Win Total Drama Island. Today you will be covering the merge portion of the season. In the last part, you became allies with Heather and placed yourself as her most loyal ally. Nobody else really cares about you, so you will be using that to your advantage the entire rest of the season. Starting with, episode 15 is the torture challenge, where you must endure torture for 10 seconds. While a lot of these are possible for a human to handle without permanent injury or death, you are not a cartoon character, so if you do get injured, it won't heal by the next episode. You need to look pathetic on the extreme challenges, failing almost instantly for any hard challenge or barely losing on an easy one. You want to do this because in Merge, you are playing alone. Sure, you have some semblance of a team with your Heather alliance, but you are entirely alone from a team perspective. Right now, you want to be overlooked, but you don't want to give the impression you don't care, because if people start wondering why you're still in the game, that's when it's too late for you to win. Also, Eva and Izzy are back. Lashana still wins the challenge, and luckily for you, Eva's gone since she made herself public enemy number 1. Episode 16 is the Scavenger Hunt challenge, where you must find keys that correspond with your treasure chest. Here's the trick in this episode: you will be not trying to find your key. At best, you get some cologne or a bag of chips, things that, while nice, don't provide a strategic advantage. Instead, you are going to be helping Heather with getting her key. Doing this and doing it without issue immediately puts you way above Lindsay on the pecking order. Plus, it solidifies one thing in Heather's mind: you are pathetic and should be brought to the finale. You will help with whatever she wants, which includes her manipulating Trent. And at the end of the episode, Trent gets eliminated because of Heather. Everyone now hates Heather, which is good, because you will always have a meat shield if Heather doesn't win immunity. Episode 17 is Hide and Seek. Now, if you are a guy, you have the unique advantage of being invited to the Guys Alliance. This will be great because you can immediately tell Heather about the Guys Alliance like the little snitch you are, and she will tell you to make sure you stay in just to be a voice from the inside who clues Heather in on their targets. The reason you don't want to stay in the Guys Alliance is simple: you are the lowest on their pecking order. With Heather, you have a guaranteed final 3 spot with Heather, Lindsay, and you. With the Guys Alliance, it's basically nothing. Now, if you're a girl, completely disregard that last segment. You are in the dark. Now here's the fun part: you do exactly what Lashana does, aka hide under the water and win immunity with her. This challenge is just simple hide and seek, and the reason I don't want you to get found is because if you get found and sprayed by Chef, you're probably dead. It sent Chris flying several hundred feet back. Imagine what it would do to you. So win your immunity and Heather would get immunity as well. So now here's where the timeline can split. If you're a girl, you can be a huge voice of reason here and get them to vote out Duncan. But if you're a guy, you just need to fill Heather in on their target, and Heather would chip the plan to voting Bridget out no matter what. I will be covering both scenarios as they become needed. Episode 18 is the bike riding challenge, where you can tank your stock again after your great performance in the last challenge. Just wipe out. It doesn't matter if you win, because this challenge is structured so badly that competing is the only way to lose, so you don't, and Lindsay gets last. Now, this is not the time to betray Heather. After all, you already know that everybody hates her. Her betraying Lindsay is not a risk for you. Heather betraying Lindsay is not of any importance to you at all, because unlike Lindsay, you are worth being kept around. Just relax and trust that you have made yourself useful enough that Heather can't dare to consider a situation where she leaves you behind. This remains consistent for both scenarios. Episode 19 is the horror movie challenge, where the only thing you have to do is make sure you don't eliminate yourself. Other than that, you are completely fine and DJ would go home. I really wish I could say more, but these 3 episodes play out the same no matter who you are. The only difference doesn't even revolve around you. If you are a girl, Duncan doesn't get to be in the alliance with Heather for obvious reasons. And if you're a guy, Duncan may seem to be your biggest threat, but in reality, this is what you want. Duncan being on your side is a great sign, because both Duncan and Heather are egomaniacs who would definitely want to take you to the finale rather than risk losing against the other heavy hitter. You are their biggest asset just because they think they can destroy you in the finale. Either way, the elimination remains the same and Izzy leaves. Episode 21 is the Triathlon, with one more contestant than in canon, so one team will be a team of 3. And I think the team you are sent to should be Gwen and Jeff. You have zero rapport with them, and it's gonna be like watching your parents fight, as Gwen and Jeff just don't get along. The events remain the same, and everyone is able to be eliminated in the end. I won't even talk about the Boney Island part of the challenge because it does not matter. You're there for so little time and nobody faces any real threat that I will assume you can survive as well. At elimination, Jeff is eliminated the same as in canon, despite Heather being right there to eliminate. This just proves our strategy is the correct one because you are not strong enough to win, but drawing attention by being nice will get you eliminated. Your biggest asset when you're useless is to be ignored. For the girls, Bridget and Jeff have a heartfelt goodbye, while for the guys, it's Gwen and Jeff saying goodbye to each other like in canon. Episode 22 is the episode revolving around eliminated contestants. Now, wouldn't it be funny if your name was said? It won't, but it would be funny. You played the entire season just for Katie and Sadie to ruin it. That must be how LaShawna feels right now as she gets thrown onto the boat. Episode 23 has to be an elimination episode in this timeline to fix the cast size. Now, you need to stick to whoever you are by like glue. If you're a guy, congrats, you have Duncan and Heather. For girls, you have Heather. Either way, at elimination, Owen is the one to go because in canon he annoyed everyone, but it was a non-elimination, so they just eliminated his coconut. In this timeline, you survive and Owen leaves because once again, nobody ever thinks to eliminate the most blatant villain when they can, due to having long-term memory issues where they can only focus on the sins of competitors committed that episode. In this timeline, you survive and Owen leaves because once again, nobody ever thinks to eliminate the most blatant villain when they can, due to having long-term memory issues where they can only focus on the sins of competitors committed that episode. Episode 24 is the same exact challenge as last episode, where your only goal is to get back to camp, but this time you have teams. You also have the chance to be useful if you know directions naturally. If you don't, just listen to Duncan and don't go over a waterfall or else you're dead. For girls, you are paired with Heather while Gwen and Bridget are paired together as well. Just do what Heather wants and don't go over a waterfall and you should survive. Now, do you win? Well, for guys, you should throw the challenge at the end. The reason being that if the girls lose, Heather or Gwen could be eliminated, and right now you need both of them. Duncan can be disposed of now that he's gotten you this far. For girls, it's a 50-50 shot where if you lose, your game may be over, but we'll discuss it more in a second. The guys scenario elimination will have Duncan leaving here. For episode 25 for the Triple Dog Dare Challenge, you have the biggest advantage since both Gwen and Heather want each other gone so they can beat you in the finale. The only thing you need to do is take Heather's dare to get her hair cut by Chef. If you do that, Heather can stay in the game, which is needed for the final challenge. Gwen's tenacity is incredible, but she should fall apart eventually, especially with you and Heather working together, with Heather taking your hard dares. Gwen gets eliminated and the Mary Sue of the season finally shows a weakness. Now let's discuss the girls scenario because there is a lot to cover. Back to the girls, and there are two different scenarios. Scenario 1, you and Heather lose and Heather leaves. This is the worst case scenario, but it can work in your favor as will be discussed momentarily. For the other scenario, you win and you and Heather vote out Gwen since she's the strongest player left in the game. For scenario 1, you need to establish yourself to both girls that you may not be liked by them, but you're a free win in the finale. That should be enough for both Bridget and Gwen, blinded by riches, to keep you around. It's a 50-50 shot though, and they may just throw you away when it lasts too long to be worthwhile to keep you around, but you should be able to last long enough for Bridget to leave at the very least. In scenario 2, Bridget would lose because she's alone and you have Heather to take all your hard dares. So in the end, the scenario is either Heather versus you or you versus Gwen. The scenario for you versus Heather is the same. You are the hero, the last person who can beat Heather. And luckily for you, this is a challenge humans can do, as it just requires you to climb a pole, cross a tight walk, and then run to the finale. And the best part is that even if you are lacking physically, you have a whole team that will help you through the hardest part, climbing up the pole. Now, I won't even act like the possibility of you falling off the tight walk and dying is an impossibility, but we will act like you didn't and you survived to the last part. The final race should just be an endurance challenge where you need to push yourself to the limit to get the win. Playing dirty is also allowed and would probably be looked at favorably by the others. You got everything you wanted from Heather. Now disregard her and thank her for teaching you how to win. She overlooked you, and that's why you won. In the you versus Gwen scenario, it is way worse, but luckily you are facing a much less physically gifted combatant because for some reason in canon, this is the episode where Gwen fails to beat the much less physically gifted Owen, going against everything we've learned about Gwen this season. Then again, I'm probably downplaying Gwen a ton, and I'll just give it a 50-50 shot at best because you won't be getting the assistance you had in the Heather scenario. If you're physically gifted enough, you should win, but otherwise, Gwen probably wins. So bringing Heather to be your meat shield in the finale is the best possible scenario for a victory. So, if you're standing on that dock with a check in hand, congratulations, you didn't win because you were the strongest strongest, the smartest, or the bravest. You won because you were the extra nobody bothered to eliminate. You worked hard to be useless, and you harvested the ultimate dividend when it mattered most. Enjoy the $100,000, enjoy the fleeting glory of reality TV fame, and get ready for total drama action where the producers will inevitably steal that money back to fund the sequel. But until then, have the day you deserve.